bypass surgery and who is 81 years old. And they made a mess of it, I think. I think his brother was in such good spirits and strong and jolly and healthy when he called us every day from the hospital, or we called him. And then he goes into that surgery, and he's a mess. They made a mess of it. The doctors in the hospital, and now he has pneumonia, and they had to take out his windpipe, his trachea, what they call a tracheotomy. Trachea is the windpipe. Otomy always means they remove it. It's a bad mess, so he's gone up to see them. And he'll be back. He'll be there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I continued I continued west in the Lincoln to the West Side Drive. It's awful. It was about 28 minutes tie up from 34th Street to 57th Street. And that's like 20 blocks. It's awful. It's a nice new road that they're building there, but one lane was blocked off for no apparent reason at all. Gee, that is not right. And so once through that, I sped along north up to the George Washington Bridge and onto the Deegan, and up the across the cross county and up the Bronx River to the Scarsdale Post Office and to the store and to the bank. And then over the hill, Ardsley Hill, to Scarsdale Fort. I know a young man there who has always been very good to me and always been honest and trustworthy and hasn't ripped me off. He worked for Midas Muffler. Now he's gone to Scarsdale Ford, which is next door. And I just sort of thought that I would give him a trust, even though I know the last place you should take a car to be fixed is to the dealer. That's the last place you should take. You know, they have all these little rooms and all these computers and all these long forms that you have to sign and all that. And they're just made to make money. They're just made to rip off. Never take your car to a dealer to be fixed. But I thought that I would give this young man a try. And so I brought the car in at 3 o'clock, and I wanted to know what's causing the bucking. And I wanted to know about the left front. It sounded to me like an upper control arm. And I wanted to have it oil, lubed, and filter. And I know I can have that done for $15.95. And I said, so I probably should take it somewhere else. And he says, no, I'll give it to you for $19.95. So for $4, $5, I let him do it. Or I put it on the list. And then the light switch. The light switch on a Lincoln is very, very complicated. You know, it has automatic dim, and it has all kinds of things. So it's very complicated. The switch alone costs over $100, and I had bought that from Eastchester Lincoln Mercury with a 20% discount. And so, and I said put in the door lock, the actuator for the rear passenger door lock. And that part cost over $70. And this is up about $30 from about 2 years ago. It's terrible, the ripoff that goes in the automobile aftermarket. It's just awful. It's an out-and-out ripoff. They'll get you for everything they can. So I left it there, and Scarsdale Ford called me a taxi cab and paid for my fare home. That was wonderful. And so I left it there with him overnight. And in the morning, around 10:30, I decided to call to see what it's done. Well, they really hadn't done hardly anything. They had charged me $67 to put it through a machine, a diagnostic machine, and they found out that it's the distributor. Folks, any mechanic, without charging $67 and without taking an hour, can tell you that it's the distributor. Isn't that ridiculous? Isn't that a ripoff? And then they did the oil, lube, and filter. They wanted $600 or $800 for the distributor. They wanted $200 for the upper control arm. They wanted $67 for putting the light switch in. They wanted $67 for putting the door actuator in. And I said, no, stop. I want my car back. And remember when I brought it in, I said I had to have it by noon Wednesday. And so I expected them fully to drive it up to me. But that was refused. And so the thing of concern is to get down and rescue your baby and get it home, get it out of their hands. So I called a cab. I spent $8 to get down from White Plains to Scarsdale Ford. And I rescued my Lincoln. And the bill was $92, $93. And I said, before I pay this, I want to take my car out and test drive it. I said, do you want me to go alone, or do you want somebody to go with me? So they had John go with me. Frank had John go with me. And the car ran very well, other than the things that are wrong with it, the bucking. And it really didn't buck. And then I drove it back into the parking lot, and that's a wretched place to enter or exit, and it's very, very dangerous. A car going out trying to back out and get out, came within this close of hitting the Lincoln broadside about 3 times. And so I paid the money, and and I looked all around the paint. You know, I just had the paint done, and they hadn't put any scratches on the paint, and they hadn't hurt the upholstery inside. So I paid it. Car ripoffs, car repair ripoffs. When you go to dealer and you sit down in those little rooms, and they have a man write up everything on a computer and have all these printouts, you know you're in for trouble. You know you're in for being charged at least 1.5 times. You can get it done more cheaply somewhere else. These are the notes that I took on it. Just by hitting a wire, they made the speedometer come on. You know, the speedometer is all digital on a Lincoln. It's all computerized. That's trouble, too. And it did come on, and it usually doesn't come on until about 30 miles or 40 miles. It's very slow to wake up. And it didn't buck as badly. So it just makes me think that I really don't need a whole new distributor. If there's just some way, minor adjustment, that they could do it. I came to White Plains. I went to the White Plains post office. I stopped at Rick's at White Plains Service, diagonally across from the new federal courthouse, which is beautiful. The rotunda arches are all out in front, and the pillars. It's quite imposing. And I told Rick that I had to edit at White Plains Public Access TV at 2 o'clock, which is right down a one-way street from him, at Martine in Lexington, and that I would like to pick him up at 1:45 and drive to White Plains Public Access and let him drive the Lincoln back here, and that he install the light switch. His price is $60, which is way too much too. And also to find out what that upper control arm noise or whatever it is. And he says, the oil lube been filtered? And I says, no. I said, we tried 3 times to have the oil lube been filtered down here, and you couldn't do it. It wasn't your fault. You had too much to do that day. Then I came home and did some telephoning, and then packed up to edit at White Plains, finished the footage of last week onto program 1575, made a VHS of 1574. Fred Strauss was extremely helpful. I saw the broadcast New York footage. It is terrible. It is disgusting. And it was a double cross. That isn't what Amber Briscoe told me it was going to be about. I didn't want to be in the company of the people that she put me. It really wasn't about Glendora. Well, in a way it was about Glendora, freedom of speech, having a statutory right to have her program on cable TV, but she put it all under freedom of speech. It just was bad. She's lost my trust entirely. That was Amber Briscoe, Broadcast New York. And I called and left a message on her telephone saying what I just said to you. And I'll show you a few clips from it. But it is a bad piece of work. And as I came out, folks, there's a tree. This is at North Lexington, right across from the public safety building, the new public safety building. And there's a cute little tree. And it has fruit hanging on a stem this long, and the fruit is about this big, and it's the red color of a strawberry, and it has seeds on the outside the way a strawberry does, with one big seed in the middle, and they were dropping all over the pavement, which was too bad. You know, they should be dropping on good ground so the seeds could sprout. And so I picked up some of those. The fruit is very soft. I don't know if it's edible or not, but it's certainly beautiful. And I put it in my pocket and to protect it. And I wanted to pick up the rest of them, but I didn't have anything to do that with, and I didn't have a container to put them in. And I brought it home, and it sort of ruined my pocket, which all had to be washed out. And I went back to Rick's, and here I sat for 2 whole hours. I hate this. I hate this, sitting in garages. I hate this. And then he'd forgotten to check the upper control arm, and then he says it's ball joints. And White Plains Motors wants $98 for each one. And Rick wants $95 to put them in. There's another $300. Rip-offs, 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 rip-offs. I'm going to get a second opinion on that if I have time. Finally, I got home at 5:30 and was able to do a little bit of telephoning, but left at least 80 calls not done. Because you waste your time in garages by rip-off repair people. Copying and stapling and putting the names as to whom to deliver each of Glendora shows cause, why, Cablevision and their lawyer, Kalaji, should not rob her of her costs on the Silverman case, and why Judge Silverman should recuse himself, something I'm going to read you when we do Cablevision. And at 8:20, I called up Phil at Cablevision Harris in Port Chester. He likes to have me call him every week, and we have good talks about what's going on in Nassau County and TKR, because he lives over there. And he likes to have me call, and he says, "You're going to call me next week?" And I says, "Yes." He says that. He said that last week, and he said it this week. I said, "Yes." And he was making sure that my program would go on in 10 minutes on Channel 45 in Harrison and Port Chester. Father was asked, "What do you think of solar energy?" And the father says, "Well, I don't know. I have a son who spends most of his life on the beach, and he has less energy than anyone I ever knew." And what is the ideal speaker, folks, at a banquet? What is the ideal speaker? The ideal speaker is a speaker who has to catch a plane in 20 minutes. A master of ceremonies is a man who eats a meal he doesn't want, so he can get up and tell a whole lot of stories he can't remember to people who have already heard them. Glendora versus the Gannett Company Incorporated. All of it started with Mitch Broder. I may not write this story. Gannett Suburban Newspapers, John Curley, Gary Watson, Douglas McCorkindale, Gary Sherlock, and Kenneth Paulson. Appellant's brief and appendix. And the appellant's reply brief. We got an oral argument date on that. It is October the 27th at the United States Court of Appeals, Second Circuit, the second highest court in the land, right next to the United States Supreme Court, and it's at Foley Square, October the 27th. And this is the log from August the 22nd to present. Do you think we ought to send it out now, or should we wait until the oral argument? I think we'll wait until the oral argument. What do you think? Now I'm going to tell you about another stupid and cheap thing that Robert M. Kalaji did. You're going to think that this is about Cablevision, but it isn't, because he's also the lawyer for the Gannett cases, or the Gannett case, the libel case, and also the Gannett antitrust case. But this is about the Gannett libel case, which goes way back to 1991. It's 3 years old, and I figure, I have reason to believe that Robert Kalaji is stewed and steamed because I tried to collect my costs from Cablevision, $797 or something like that. And so he, after 3 years, sends me a notice of settlement for the Gannett libel suit. And And he sends all of the papers and tells the history of the case and the judgment. Now, therefore, he says that I owe him costs. And now let's just take a look at his costs. And he has them up to $1,050. He says that I owe him. Well, this is my answer. Supreme Court of the State of New York, and he appealed to this, by the way, to Judge Burroughs, which is all wrong. You should go to the clerk with this. So he sends this to me, and he says, wait a second, that's what's that the within is a true copy of a judgment that will be presented to the Honorable Gordon W. Burroughs for settlement and signature on the 26th day of September, 1994, at 9:30 a.m. at 111 Grove Street, White Plains, New York. And there's a typo here. It looks like my typing, Y-O-U-R-Y-S. And another thing that's bad is that he has no address. It says to Glendora, and right here. And you see there's no address. And he doesn't send any receipts. And he sends no proof or documentation. And here's the copy of the judgment. And he wants Judge Burroughs to sign there. So I run around, hasten, and answer this, and it's Supreme Court of the State of New York, County of Westchester. Glendora plaintiff against Gannett Suburban Newspapers, John J. Curley, Gary Watson, Gary Sherlock, Lawrence K. Beaupre. Let's try that again. Lawrence K. Beaupre, Evelyn McCormick, and Kevin Gray, defendants. Index number is 1769-94, and it's Judge Burroughs, and it's Glendora's affidavit. Bill of costs is a lie. A, the costs before the note of issue. Glendora requests a list of what these costs are and wants receipts. B, appeal to the appellate division. Glendora paid the $250 to appeal your unjust decision. C, there was no fee to the New York State Court of Appeals. Glendora asked for leave to appeal, and there was no fee. D, the sheriff's fee on execution. The sheriff charges under $12 for collecting in White Plains. He had down something like $25. And then E, RSI, $75. What is an RSI? What is that? So the total here is 0. Defendants have an incomplete address for Glendora, see page 4. And why is this addressed to you, Judge Burroughs? You lost jurisdiction when Glendora filed her notice of appeal. See Gannett's second quarter report. Here's Gannett's second quarter report. Their assets are $3,823,798,000, and they want $1,050 from me. Glendora says to Judge Burroughs, Kalaji perjured himself as usual. Over on the Cablevision lawsuit, Glendora is trying to collect her costs of $779, and Kalaji got an order to show cause enjoining Glendora from collecting the $779. Cablevision's assets are $1,441,379,000. Cheap, David and Goliath. Kalaji's signature is not notarized, and you have to watch him closely. When the day comes of making a pro se pay costs, it is a new nadir. Glendora has said all along that the worst consumer ripoff in America is the courts. White Plains, New York, dated September 26, 1994. Yours in truth, Glendora. And it's notarized by Ivan Pinero, and it's to Robert M. Kalaji. Well, Franklin went over there Monday because, remember, Kalaji said that it was supposed to be at 9:30 Monday, September 26th. And Franklin went over there. Mary Natoli had never heard of it. She had never got anything from Kalaji. Charles Devlin came down. He had never got anything from Kalaji. Never. So he just perjures himself. It was never presented to them. Now, the proper way to do this, we are told, is that both sides go to the clerk and ask for their costs. One side asks for the cost and the other side disputes it or agrees. And then if there's no agreement reached, then you, and this is very rare, then you go to the judge and have the judge adjudicate it. So Kalaji's got it all backwards, just the same way here in the Gannett. Every case he handles is handled wrong. Just as it is here in the Gannett case, he handled it wrong over in the Cablevision about costs. And you're going to hear about that when I report to you what happened this week on Cablevision. Do you know what the Getty law of public speaking is? If you don't strike oil after the first 5 minutes, stop drilling. And Pete says about his club, I don't know what it is that makes our meetings so dull, but whatever it is, it always works. And always remember that expressing your fear, start over again. Always remember that expressing your opinion without fear of reprisal is what distinguishes democracy from marriage. Glendora versus the DHCR and Judge Coppola on two cases, Coppola 1 and Coppola 2, which are very bad decisions. We're waiting for the appellate division on Thanksgiving 1995. And don't vote for Judge Coppola. I am not going to vote for Judge Coppola because he's a judge with no judgment. The case of Glendora versus Lydia Gallicano, we're waiting until Thanksgiving of this year, 1994, to hear from the New York State Court of Appeals, the highest court in New York State, up in Albany, whether they're going to give me leave to argue, make a motion for them to reverse the decision, the very bad decision of the appellate division. That would be Judges Santucci, Miller, Rosenblatt, and Ritter on the bad decisions of Judges Nicolai, Ruskin, and Donovan. And we won't hear from that until Thanksgiving 1994. That'll be in November, third week in November. And this is the final week in September. This is what happened on the law-breaking of Daniel Roberta and James Walsh, Nella and Theo Alpucci, and Kevin and Andrew Larkin. This is file 14. Wall law-breaking has been on television all week. It was on at 5:30 for a half an hour on Mondays, channel 14, White Plains. It was on for a half hour, Wall and Koza, about his law breaking on channel 8 at 9 p.m. Tuesday. And I'd have to look up to see what was going on in Harrison to see if it was on there. 40 programs every month and a different program all the time. You have to have an archivist to keep charge of it. I know that this log went out on Monday and Tuesday. It's a very little log this time. It's just 12 pages. Money. I think it cost $3 to mail it and $4 to print it. All record has gone to 1,500 pages. That's ridiculous. This law breaking should have been stopped long ago. Should have been stopped by the defendants themselves. That's where it started and where it should have been stopped. It should have been stopped by the White Plains Police. It should have been stopped by the court. But it goes on and on. It should have been stopped by the landlord. So this is file 15, a new file that was started. No, that's wrong. That's file 10. It's gone to 1,500 pages, 10 volumes. What should John Porzio do? Evict the Walsh family, evict the Alpucci family, get the junk out of here. Let's see, the stove is gone, the refrigerator is gone, the toilet bowl is gone, the toilet trunk is gone. But remaining is the TV set that's been here ever since I've been here, the bicycle, and the old set tubs. We got new set tubs. Isn't that nice? Thank you, landlord. And stop the cellar from flooding every time it rains, and watch the wall record on TV in his own hometown of Harrison. Read the logs that are sent to him every week, and get a superintendent here to take care of these buildings. At 4:25 a.m., the wall files have gone to 1,500 pages. That's unnecessary. All they had to do was to live by the law. We had to start a new volume, volume 10. 4:31 a.m., review the law. 4:39 a.m., done. And on Thursday at 5:15 a.m., we distributed the wall logs to the 14 apartments. We videotaped wall for an hour. We got interest on the security deposit. And it took 1 hour to edit wall in the afternoon. And here's a joke. The boss says, "While I'm meeting with these people in my office," he said to the secretary, "please call my broker." And the secretary said, "Yes, sir, stock or pawn?" We sent a notice to Judge Wood that we have the correct address for Kevin and Andrew Larkin, that Koza lied. Their correct address is not in Maryland. Their correct address is in Harrison. They moved to Harrison. Copy of the check that John Porzio sent to Glendora for something like $48, which is the interest on the security deposit, and he apologized that it was late, that the payment was late. We had a day of peace. Thursday was a day of peace. Eric Fisher called while Glendora was out. Glendora called him at 4. He said he never got the message. He did not call back. First, the White Plains police will not come when they're summoned, and then you wait for Fisher, and then it is days after the violation that the report is taken, and the 2 reports that Glendora gave Rossi, Lieutenant Rossi, apparently weren't done. They didn't show up anywhere. Nobody knows. It's sort of like the Keystone Cops. What do report cards teach a parent? You don't have to lift weights to raise a dumbbell. Apartment 3B is still empty, but over the weekend people started coming in, but I really don't think that they have moved in. We have new set tubs. Isn't that nice? Thank you, landlord. That's very nice. The cellar floor is still flooded. That is bad. The next time the building department will have to be notified. 10 a.m. to John Porzio's answering service. Thank you for the new set tubs. And there's still puddles of rain, and it's the second day. They just stay there. Puddles in the basement. You have to walk through those puddles to do your laundry. You have to walk through those puddles to go to your bin, go to your locker. 3:52 p.m. on Saturday, loud music again from Roberta's apartment. She has a door open. She offends the nose with the cigarette smoke and the ears with the music too loud. Porzio should post signs, no smoking in the halls. It is injurious to people's health. We're up to 924 tortious acts. The top front door of the dryer, that nice new dryer, is off. This is bad because when the dryer is running, you see a huge gas flame, and it's very accessible. No smoking in the halls. It is injurious to people's health. We're up to 924 tortious acts. The top front door of the dryer, that nice new dryer, is off. This is bad because when the dryer is running, you see a huge gas flame, and it's very accessible. So Franklin put it back on, and then it was off again, and I couldn't put it back on. Here is the letter from John Porzio. It's too bad you can't see the check. It's more fun to see the check. And it says, "Dear enclosed, please find our check for $46.12, which represents security interest due you that is in arrears. This is as of June 30th, 1994, and is distributed in accordance with the present laws in effect. Thank you for your patience in this matter." That's dated September 24, John S. Porzio. And what are we doing? We're waiting on Judge Wood's decision. John Sulich returned from vacation Monday, and the teacher said, "Who was the first woman doctor in America?" And the student said, "Dolly Medicine." On Sunday, the wall was all up to date, and the wall envelopes were done in preparation for the mailing. The girls from Apartment 3C were noisy from 3 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. Their names are Megan, Aaron, Maggie, and something else. They are breaking the White Plains noise ordinance. It will be on TV Monday, Channel 14, 5:30 p.m. White Plains, and they are mangling the courtyard lawn. It's against the rules to play on the lawn and ruin the lawn. At 5:53 p.m. on Saturday, our 6th doormat was stolen, or at least we found out that it was stolen. This, is on Sunday. When we came home from church from Sunday around 12:30 p.m., the doormat was there. When I looked out around 5:53 p.m., the doormat was gone. The prime suspect is Roberta Walsh, and she has done this 6 times. She has done this the 5 times in the past. And she was here this afternoon. She did go out, and she did return. Glendora asked the woman in 1A if she saw anybody touch the doormat. These lawbreakers never learn. At 6:57 p.m. on Sunday, Daniel Walsh went down cellar. Glendora went down cellar to lock her bin. Daniel was standing underneath the smoke detector in the cellar, and he lit a huge foul-smelling cigar. A whole lot of black smoke came from it. It rose, and it set off the smoke alarm. I have that on audio tape. And then he went back to his apartment. So did he go down cellar just to set off the smoke alarm, or just to have a smoke, or what? But there shouldn't be any smoking in the public places, in the public common areas. Service direction, I called and I told him that the top door of the nice new dryer had been taken off twice. And I called Porzio and told him that the 6th doormat had been stolen, and that Daniel Walsh had lit a cigar and set off the smoke alarm in the cellar. And here's the notice that went to Judge Wood. Following is the truthful address of defendants Andrew and Kevin Larkin. And I gave it to him. And lawyer Michael Koza lied to you when he said their address is in Maryland. He has never supplied us with his truthful address, and he has violated CPLR 3318. We're looking for justice, Judge Wood. Here is the lie of Michael Koza, saying that the Larkins' address is Maryland. We gave him those reports that you just heard. We asked Lori Pitka if she had all of the things she needed from me, which is the corrections in my signature that I verified that it wasn't a true account of the deposition, the oral deposition taken by Michael Koza on August 22nd. Lori said yes. Marilyn, I just turned 34. Her mother-in-law said, right. Last year she was 43. At peace, and Tuesday was a day of peace. But Wednesday, I came home from White Plains Public Access where I was editing, and from White Plains Service where I got a switch that cost, a light switch that cost over $100, put into the Lincoln, which cost over $60. And as I came home from there and was unloading my camera and my backpack full of accessories and my Gannett bag full of videotapes, I didn't look at Roberta or Nella, who were sitting on the wall like Humpty Dumpty down between buildings D and A, and I didn't speak to them. But as I got out all these things and started into my home, one of them went. Now, Officer Fisher, interrogate them. Say, did you, Nella, whistle? She will say no. Did you, Roberta, whistle? She will say no. So one of them has to be lying. And this is Tortious Act number 928, harassment. The total on wall so far is 2 hours. And it will take, that includes an hour of videotaping this week's report and just, and editing it. And so the joke that will close here on the wall log, oh, you remember that we're waiting for Judge Wood to make the decision on 3 motions that Carlucci should recuse himself because of his bias and his inappropriate behavior, that Koza, Conboy, Karamitzos, and Wilson Bay, that screwy law firm, should be sanctioned for defying Judge Wood's order to supply Glendora with the insurance agreement pursuant to CPLR 3101F. And that Glendora should have default judgment from the Larkin defendants because they didn't answer in 20 days. In fact, they didn't answer in 6 weeks. So we're waiting for Judge also on the order to show cause about a temporary restraining order on the Walches and the Alpuccis, annoying Glendora, bothering Glendora, intruding on Glendora, harassing Glendora, injuring Glendora, and so forth. So those are the 4 decisions that we're waiting for from Judge Wood. And the joke that we're going to close with is that Ed was always talking about a small town, and he was asked by Bill, did you ever have any were there any big men ever born in your hometown? And Ed says, no, just babies. And that's what happened on the wall law breaking this week. He stood up at the microphone at the banquet. He says, I'm very happy to be here, having satisfied the 2 philosophical requirements of your program, Chairman. Number 1, he believes in free speech, and number 2, he believes in free speeches. And a good speech, folks, to be immortal, a good speech to be immortal does not have to be eternal. And John is an athlete, and he was filling in his application, and the questionnaire said, what is the name of your bank? And he put down Piggy. Phone call was Diane Bennett, who coordinates all of the programs for public access for Cablevision Long Island, Nassau, and she does such a great job, and she's so pleasant, and it's always so much fun to talk to her, and she's so efficient, and she's so accurate. We are dealing now with Glendora versus Elizabeth Hubbard, Alan Beck, Michelle Mayapath, and the Fund for Modern Courts, and their bad lawyer, Edmund Purvis and Larchmont. And last week, you remember I showed you, he wants $4,500 from me for representing these tortfeasors in the very bad court of Judge Colabella. And remember last week I said that I read to you my notes of what I was going to say in protest of such a weird demand. And so this week I'm going to read you what I did write. Supreme Court of the State of New York, Westchester County, Glendora, plaintiff against Elizabeth Hubbard, Alan Beck, Michelle Mayapath, and the Fund for Modern Courts defendants. Excuse me. Index number 20867 of 93, and this is plaintiff's vehement opposition to attorney's fees, and this is to Judge Colabella. One, plaintiff Glendora says that Judge Colabella and his law clerk Raymond Powers should recuse themselves from her case. They have made a mess of it. Two, Judge Colabella and his law clerk are biased and prejudiced and have denied Glendora due process. Three, due process mandates an unbiased, impartial judge free from any personal interest in the verdict. Four, a judge and a law clerk should have integrity, good character, demeanor, and exhibit judicial temperament. Both Judge Kohler and Clerk Powers have failed on all of these. Five, you both should recuse yourselves. You are incapable of objectivity. Six, Glendora will appeal this unjust decision on October 7th, 1994, when the 30 days are up. She will bring it before the judges of the Appellate Division, 2nd Department, New York State Supreme Court. Glendora goes out and volunteers and gives her all to it, and you are making her pay for volunteering. You tell me there's justice in the United States in these rotten courts? 8. Courts are at a new nadir when a pro se is ruled to pay an attorney's costs. 9. Edmund Purvis bungled from the beginning. He does everything backwards, as Glendora has testified many times. He is not worth $200 an hour. He gives no proof of spending 23 and a half hours. He offers no witnesses. He offers no log. There's no log there as to the time he started and the time he finished. No way should he get paid for writing interrogatories, a typically sloppy and ragged job of his, when he should have submitted a bill of particulars. This is a personal injury lawsuit, CCPLR Article 30. Glendora, the one who was injured by the lying, stealing, and cheating of Hubbard, Beck, Mayapath, and the Fund for Modern Courts, spent more than 200 hours on this lawsuit and 100 hours volunteering for this wretched outfit. Purvis does not number his pages, so Glendora cannot refer you to a specific page. Purvis's 2D is missing and an apostrophe in plaintiffs. Glendora contests everything that Purvis writes. Did anybody get Glendora's acceptance that she would be asked to pay $200 an hour? When you go out and buy a consumer product, you go out and you get estimates, right? And then you can shop around. But I had no alternative. I had no opportunity to do this. Any consumer knows that she or he has the right to okay a charge before it is levied. When you go to have a job done on your car, you find out what the hourly rate is beforehand and not afterwards. You have the right to get a lower rate. Further, Purvis is not worth $200 per hour. With all of his bungling, he is not worth $1 an hour. He committed so many stupids. Besides, Hubbard wrote half of the motion to dismiss. Glendora has read this whole dismal record on television. The public has to know how bad the courts and the lawyers get. Purvis' affirmation for costs is as puerile as his motion to dismiss and all of his pleadings before that, his quote-unquote brief, so-called. 2G, he ignored. 2H, he ignored. 2K, he ignored. He didn't even answer, and he wants to get charged for that. It is a disgrace that upon the poor record, as an attorney, you could rule the way you did. 2B was late. 2C was the wrong thing to do. Purvis did not win because he was a good lawyer. He won because the court was prejudiced. Glendora was manipulated by Purvis ex parte. Glendora is the one who should have been paid, not Purvis. The record stands. First, Glendora is a victim of Hubbard, Beck, Mayapath, and the Fund for Modern Courts. Then she is a victim of the court. The next evil plan is to make her a victim of Purvis's greed. It is all crooked, like the defendants not writing the report they promised us. Would we have spent 100 hours of time and effort monitoring courts, writing reports, spending our money for gasoline, parking, postage, and copying if defendants had said in the beginning that there would be no report at the end of the monitoring period? Would we have? Remember, it was Purvis who mumbled, "I'll report you," to Glendora. Now that's silly. This is on audio tape, but you can bumble and fumble all you want when the court is on your side or anybody's side and against the plaintiff. Purvis submits no receipts, no reports, no proof. Why did he send 2 affirmations? Can't he get it right the first time? It's a lie a day we have to refute. The bad lawyers and the bad courts have robbed us of our lives. You go to court for justice and the court ends up injuring you as badly as the lawbreakers injured you. Glendora wanted a trial by jury, her constitutional right, but Powers cheated her out of it. Remember, Powers is the boss. There was a time when a clerk spoke negatively about Judge Colabella. Glendora and Franklin would not believe it, but now we will accept it. Glendora would like to know how Hubbard and Purvis became client attorney. Is he a friend of the family? Is he a relative? He came out of the mist and acted so ineptly, and she ended up doing half of the work like a pro se. Purvis's law partner is a former judge. Maybe Elizabeth Hubbard knew the judge because she was writing about the judge or something. This whole thing by Purvis is unconscionable, as is the decision by Judge Colabella and law clerk Powers. Franklin tried to serve personally upon Judge Colabella and law clerk Powers their copies of the protest sent all over New York State courtland. The secretary said they were busy. Judge Colabella has to be served personally because his clerks never get a paper to him. Either they lose it or they just don't get it to him. The next day, Glendora tried to serve them personally with the same result. So she asked his court officer to serve them. It's what you don't know that can hurt you. Everybody else knows from the mailing and from the TV. Glendora vehemently rejects Purvis's unaudited claims with excoriating decisions like Powers and with outrageous charges like $4,500. Judges like Nicholas Colabella are trying to intimidate people, you, from exercising your right to due process and equal protection under the law. They are trying to send the message, stay out of court, we'll ruin you. That's the message that Colabella and his law clerk are trying to send you. Trying to make a pro se pay a Shylock's gouging is scandalous. Let me say that again. Trying to make a pro se pay a Shylock's gouging is scandalous. And this is a poor pro se. The money would have to be paid out of Franklin's pension. He is 75 years old and a D-Day veteran, out of his Social Security and out of Glendora's Social Security. Glendora has no more income because tortfeasors like Hubbard, Beck, Mayapath, and the Fund for Modern Courts have burned up all her time and energy in self-defense against their lying, stealing, and cheating. There's no time to go out and get business. Courts are deaf, dumb, and blind to justice. Courts are supposed to be lenient toward a pro se, but what did Powers do? He hammered a pro se. Well, he cut his own record, and Glendora will do all she can to let the public know. Did defendants and Powers talk this over with each other the way they manipulated Glendora ex parte out of her right to conferences, to discovery, and to trial by jury? This country needs socialized lawyers like socialized medicine. Just as the crime bill and the health cost reform bill, we need a court reform bill socializing lawyers, getting them all the same salary. We also need a court reform association that is reputable, honest, trustworthy, and keeps its word. We need a court reform association, not modern courts, not the Fund for Modern Courts. We need another one that is reputable, honest, trustworthy, and keeps its word. They have, like Dr. Faustus, sold their souls. Is Purvis going to charge double for sending out the same form twice last week? This affirmation by Purvis, unnotarized, shows how right Glendora was about these defendants and lawyer in the first place. Purvis cites CPLR 3212, but in true Purvis fashion, he is not specific. He doesn't say whether it's section A, B, C, D, E, F, or G. The Consolidated Law Service has 200 pages of CPLR 3212. So which ones do we look at as a reference? Why didn't he specify? And Purvis included no other citations. The claim was only for $7,000 per defendant, and Purvis, the lawyer, wants $4,500? Here you have a pro se who can't find time to earn money in her business because lying lawyers steal all her time, and who is asked to pay money to an attorney 20 times what he is worth. That's rotten. That's un-American. White Plains, New York, dated September 29th today, 1994. Yours in truth, Glendora. Spat upon volunteer for Modern Courts, Box 416, White Plains, New York, 10602, 914-949-9495. That will have to be notarized, and it will have to be served on POR. And I've called 2 or 3 times that court and asked them, do I have to appear tomorrow, Friday? Nobody ever knows the answer. Nobody ever knows the answer. Nobody's there to tell you. So I don't know if I have to appear personally tomorrow. Modern Courts Lying, Stealing, and Cheating file is big. This is the file 7. It's this big, the file is. It's a bad, bad record. Well, it's really actually this big because of about the 2 years before that I monitored. Reformed so badly, and we got an association like that masquerading as court reform. Man was told that there were only 2 tickets left for the playoffs and that it was standing room only, and the sports fan says, okay, I'll take them as long as they're together. And Bob got a new pair of skis, and they came with a very helpful pamphlet, how to turn them into splints. One sports fan wrote to the ticket office, send me 2 tickets. If they're good tickets, I'll send you a check. And the sports office wrote back, send us a check. If it's good, we'll send you the tickets. So what is happening with Cablevision? Well, the screwy lawyer, Kalaji, with the aid of Strickland, another lawyer down there at Sadley, Stevens, Burke, and Burke, sent out a motion to Judge Silverman to stop Glendora from getting her costs. $90 to stop Glendora from collecting those costs from Cablevision with assets of $1,441,375,000. So that's cheap, that's pretty. I told you about that last week. And so the next day comes another motion revising the first motion from Kalaji, Strickland, Sadley, Stevens, Burke, and Burke. And the next day comes a letter canceling both of those motions with an order to show cause. Unbelievable order to show cause. Well, I got a lot to say about that. I would think that you do too. And here are all their muddling papers on that. And of course, I would think that shareholders have to pay for all of this waste. And these stupids refusing to pay $790 costs. 2 weeks after they paid $1.1 billion for Madison Square Garden. Now, how does that make the company look? This is Robert Perry's corrected brief to the United States Court of Appeals. Never know how to show these things to you. You had read the other brief. It wouldn't be that much different to you. After the oral argument on September 20th, Robert Perry filed some citations, some added citations, and there has been no decision on that. And Brian Grafman says, well, the longer they take to make a decision, the better it is. Brian Grafman used to be a clerk for Judge Minor, so he would know a lot about it. This is the second quarter Cablevision report. I don't get a chance to read it because I have to keep refuting the lies of Robert M. Kalaji. This is the business corporation law, which I read to you last week. Answer questions for Cablevision to answer. They haven't answered them as yet. And they probably won't answer them. They'll probably run away and hide. And this is all of this is the new Cablevision file. We practically have to start a new file every week. This great big log went out. And we had to reduce this to this. Wait a second, I'll show it to you. Because it costs so much to send it. It had to be reduced to this, 4 pages per sheet. And this is the log that went out. And the cost of that was about $5 to print and about $6 to mail. And what file is this? What number file? It's file number 15. And the pages on Cablevision, I believe, have gone up to, just a second, folks. Well, it's something like 4,300 pages of bad record of lying. So this week I had to write I had to show cause to Judge Silverman why Cablevision should not pay me my costs. And here that is, and that has to go out today. And I keep calling the court over there. Do I have to come in Friday? The return date is September 30th, to show cause by September 30th, tomorrow. Do I have to come in? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. So I don't know whether I have to go in tomorrow or not in person, or whether this is just going to be submitted. Here's a copy for Robert Perry over there. Here's a copy for Kalaji. Here's a copy for Judge Silverman. And here is my copy. Supreme Court, State of New York, County of Westchester, Glendora, plaintiff against James A. Colfault, Charles F. Dolan, John Totter, William J. Bell, Mark A. Luskarten, Francis F. Randolph Jr., Robert S. Lemley, Joseph Osnauer, Thomas Garger, James L. Dolan, and Cablevision Systems Corporation. Index number 9403288, assigned to Judge Donald N. Silverman. Plaintiff Glendora shows cause why Judge Silverman should not sign an order robbing Glendora of her costs, and why Judge Silverman should recuse himself because of his hatred of Glendora. Glendora, being duly sworn, deposes and says her reasons follow for showing cause why Judge Silverman should not sign an order robbing Glendora of her costs, and why Judge Silverman should recuse himself because of his hatred for Glendora. Judge Silverman told Glendora the case is over. This is in the minutes Glendora bought for $84 of the July 14, 1994 conference. It is over, Judge Silverman said a second time. The case is over. You win, Judge Silverman said a third time. 2. So if the case is over and Glendora won, how can Judge Silverman still have jurisdiction over the case? Ergo, how can he rule on Kalaji's poor will motion? Isn't this case in the jurisdiction of the Appellate Division, where Glendora appealed on August 9, 1994, parts of Judge Silverman's decision, and where the defendants cross-appealed the same decision a few weeks later? Glendora apologizes for forgetting that defendants bought the county clerk RGI. She will take that off the costs, but will add the clerk fees and the sheriff fees. And here is section 8402 of the CPLR. Costs may be taxed at least 5 days' notice to each adverse party interested in reducing the amount thereof, except one against whom judgment was entered on default doesn't apply. A copy of the bill of costs specifying the items in detail and a copy of any supporting affidavits shall be served with the notice. But then section 8404 says, upon motion of any interested party on notice, the court may allow or disallow any item objected to before the clerk, or it may order a retaxation before the clerk, and it may specify the grounds or the proof upon which an item may be allowed or disallowed. 4. Glendora says, please see Cablevision's second quarter statement sent to Glendora, who is a shareholder. There it is. What's their assets down there, folks? 1,400,000,000, how many million and how many thousand? $1,481,372,000 is Cablevision's assets, Glendora tells Judge Silverman. I don't see how he has jurisdiction over this. for the first time because we put everything over pending this conference. So that confirms what I've said a long time ago, that in many cases the judge doesn't even see the papers, it's all up to the law clerk. And this is a particularly bad law clerk, this Paul Carlucci. So that's why I made a motion that he be out of it completely. And Glendora says the return date is September 7th. Judge Wood, I have to read the papers and make a decision based on all the motions. So I don't think there is anything else that can be accomplished here this morning. Glendora, then you are going to give us another conference? Judge Wood, no, I'm going to decide these motions, and in the motions I'm telling you what the next return date is or what the next action is. Is it good, Katie? Yeah, is it good? Yes. You good vegetarian kitty, Katie. Mr. McGrath, who came there for Wilson Babe, if there's going to be another conference, you will indicate that in the decision? Judge Wood, I will indicate that in the decision. Thank you very much. Thank you so very much. Glendora, it's a great pleasure. Mr. McGrath, thank you. Certification, I, Jerry Pellis, certified court reporter, I believe CSR stands for, hereby certified that the foregoing matter is a true and correct transcript of minutes taken by me to the best of my ability. So, and then outside I talked to Eric Schmaltz for a while. I saw Eric Schmaltz's trial. I did not think it was a fair trial. And that's what he's there appealing now. So, as I say, he asked for permission to submit a pro se brief, which he got, and he asked for a copy of the minutes. To make sure that he got a copy of the minutes, Mr. Montello went out in the corridor with him, and they took care of that, I hope, that he gets a copy of the minutes. Because he has a court-appointed lawyer. That would be an 18B lawyer, Section 18B, that the court costs for the lawyer. The costs for the lawyer are paid by the court, not by him. So I'm glad he appeared before them. This is the log that's going out to Cablevision so far this week. Is there anything else to report on Cablevision? Yes, I went downstairs and Francis Harrising signed, notarized the papers to go to Colabella and the papers to go to Silverman, the thing that I just read you. And I took the papers up to Colabella's chambers, and his secretary came out, and I told her, Joe, I'm glad I didn't see any of the others. I'm glad I didn't see Raymond Powers or T.J. Mallon or Judge Colabella. Now, when Francis called up for me to see whether these had to be submitted or whether I had to be there in person tomorrow, and I don't have to be there for either one of them tomorrow, the law clerk was laughing, or it could have been T.J. Mallon, it could have been Carlucci, or it could have been Raymond Powers. But anyway, whoever it was saying to Francis, oh, she loves me. So it could have been any of them, because that would apply to all three of them, Mallon, Powers, and Carlucci. Now, while I was there on the 18th floor, I went to see John Sulich, and he said my motions are being worked on up in the chambers. And also Richie, the court clerk, was there, the one who witnessed that bad thing with Judge Silverman. So I said hi to Richie. Was taking something to send to her son in college up at Albany. So we saw each other in the post office. And what else? Then I stopped at White Plains Service to find out about this upper control arm and this ball joint. White Plains Motors wants $93 for a ball joint. That's outrageous. I think we can get a control arm and a ball joint from Blood Brothers used for $60. No, that's over at Aid Auto. You can get one for $60. So So I don't know what I'll do then. And over in Blood Brothers, you can get something else for $45. So I don't know what we'll do about that tomorrow, but it's got to be done because the wheel could fall off. And I think that's an original part that's gone 197,000 miles. My Lincoln's gone 197,000 miles. Pellet term that Schmaltz took out of the wastebasket. Isn't it? Yeah. Yeah. But where is Eric's name? Oh, that's the civil calendar. This would not be on the civil calendar. They won't be back again until May. But I think they like to have me come. I think they like to have me follow what they do. You know, I followed the appellate term. For 1 year, I went to every appellate term down in Mineola. 1 year I did that, and something like I've seen at least 13 or 14 appellate terms. Wait, something went through my mind to tell you. Started first doing this, and I knew I had to go and have an oral argument before the appellate term. It was on the Gannett-Broder breach of contract case. I was appealing Judge Johnston's wrong decision in the Harrison Town Court. And anyway, at that time, when I went before the appellate term, it looked so big to me. It just looked so big to me. And now that I've been before the United States Court of Appeals, it looks so small to me, the appellate term. It's funny, isn't it? All a frame of reference. A referee defines a sports fan as somebody who screams and yells at you because he thinks that you missed a call in the center of the interior line, and then he goes to the parking lot and can't find his car. And the basketball coach said to his team, the trouble with referees is they don't care who wins. And how can a guy who signs a contract for $3 million be called a free agent? And an NBA player was asked, what is the biggest detriment to the league? Ignorance. And the NBA player says, I don't know and I don't care. Katie came and nuzzled me. She wanted to prove they think that I am their mother. Katie, I don't even look like a cat. Why do you think I'm your mother? Now, I have a blueberry festival. The church in the Highlands is located in White Plains on Bryan Avenue between Longview and Grandview. And on October the 15th, Saturday, from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., they're going to have a blueberry festival. You can go and get a blueberry pancake breakfast, and then after your breakfast you can have you can buy blueberry muffins, blueberry cake, blueberry pies, blueberry jam. So that will all be baked by the people who go to the church in the Highlands. That's October the 15th, 1994, Saturday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., the Church of the Highlands on Bryant between Longview and Grandview. Washing machines and dryer, clothes dryer, are very, very nice. You come back for more, little kitty? Yeah, little Katie. All of the reports are up to date from September the 11th, 1994 to September the 26th, Monday. Broadcast TV said that they got 200 calls on that excerpt that they did on free speech. And I didn't like the job that they did at all. I thought it was terrible. I thought it was gross. Aren't they, Kitty? Yeah. Aren't they? Yeah. I stopped at the White Plains Post Office where I told you Yvette was mailing a box of cookies to her son at the State University of New York at Albany. Lucky kid. He may study sports medicine. I told him, of course, about Yvette, about about Ronnie Burns. And this was the in-mail. We have here a very routine and dumb letter from General Accident. I guess if they're going to have such a dumb loss firm, they've got to be that dumb themselves. That's saying that they acknowledge receipt of my letter to Mr. Farnham, and you can see he's the CEO of General Accident. And I tried to tell him what a bad job and how much of their money Wilson Babe was wasting. Karamitsos, Koza, and Convoy. And we forward a copy of your letter to Claims Manager Daniel Summer in our White Plains, New York office. Mr. Summer will review this matter and take any corrective action he deems appropriate. Well, you know, if the insurance company is that dumb, let him be that dumb and let him be ripped off by Wilson Babe. And now here's Wilson Babe again lying. This letter came in today, and it's written by Karamitsos. And it says, person to your notice for discovery and inspection dated September 19, 1994, enclosed herein. Please find a copy of our response to discovery. Request dated September 2nd, 1994, and served on you that day, indicating our client's permanent address. You may also forward mail to Mr. Andrew Larkin in care of the Harrison Police Department, 650 North Street, Harrison, New York. They finally came through with that, but here they go on lying again, that his address is in Maryland. Do you see that? Well, we know very well that Andrew Larkin lives at 68 Condit Street in Harrison, New York, 10528. So the lie just goes on and on. You can't stop a lawyer from lying, I guess. And this is from Kalaji, and of course he's responding to Perry's, lawyer Perry, Robert T. Perry, who's the amicus curiae on Glendora versus Cablevision. And he's responding to the authorities that Perry submitted after the oral argument. I will not respond to this because Perry, I don't know whether he gets a chance to respond to it or if this has to be the last one. And it seems to me that he's taking his old sweet time about doing the September 26th Monday. You know, these people are about to make their decision down in the United States Court of Appeals. But this letter, this submission to Robert Perry is by Kalaji. And Kalaji is not admitted to the bar of the court of the United States Court of Appeals. So I better get on the phone tomorrow and complain about that. As I say, I think this winds up the week. One of his team's basketball forwards was so slow that if he ever got caught in the rain, he'd rust. And Diane said to one of the basketball players, you smell good tonight. What do you have on? And the basketball player said, clean socks. And during a timeout, a referee looked up into the stands, and he saw attendants carrying out a woman on a stretcher. And the referee asked the coach, what happened, a heart attack? And the coach says, no, you called one right, and she fainted. So I think that's it on a chat with Glendora for the week of September 22nd to September 29th. And we'll close with a hymn. God be with you till we meet again. Keep love's banner floating o'er you. Put his loving arms around you. God be with you till we meet again.
idea.
Really?
You had it up to like you were shooting?
Yes, I was shooting.
Yeah, I know. I mean, while you were shooting.
This is Kirk Dozier, and he's a photographer for Newsday, Long Island, and he's out here taking pictures on Saturday night. Now my 600-watt light is so good he doesn't have to use a flash. And he's got a Canon too, and mine is a Canon, so here's a Canon shooting a Canon. And then over here on the monitor we've got another Canon.
Okay, now while you have it up, just look. Now look, just look now.
Look like
towards
this?
me. No, take your eye out of the viewfinder. Keep the camera on your shoulder. Just turn your head a little bit further. No, the other way. There we go.
And what am I looking at? You?
Looking at me, yeah.
Okay.
Just keeping the camera. Okay, how about lifting up?
What happens when you hear that?
Rewind it.
Oh, the film is over.
Yeah.
And you've taken 2 films. I was telling Kirk that when the photographer came from the New York Times, she took 100 pictures. She did. She counted them up for me. And when Gannett was here, Seth Harrison, he took 100 pictures.
Was it the Westchester?
Yeah, this is Gannett.
Yeah, I used to work for Gannett. Well, in Detroit, I worked at a Gannett.
Oh, does the Gannett? Yeah, Gannett has a.
The News is a Gannett paper.
Oh,
Free
see,
press.
you used to work for them.
Yeah.
How are they to work for?
Oh, they're good.
Yeah.
They had a JOA up there.
They what?
Had a JOA where they joined the business departments together. You know, the advertising and all that.
Oh, they did?
It's kind of changed the market a little bit.
It did?
Kind of monopolized things for them. So.
Well, that's what Gannett does. It goes into, this is what they did here in Westchester.
Right.
They bought up all the dailies,
Right.
and there's nothing left but Gannett, and it's monopoly.
Right.
And you just don't get your service.
Right.
Now, you want this down there?
Yeah, the same way you had it before.
I've forgotten what that is, and I was leading on
Yeah.
this.
Go out that way. Just lean. No, just move your body. There we go. That's it. Okay, you had the camera a little more sideways. There we go. Okay, that'll do it.
Kurt, did you think of this as a shot? Looking into here and talking to the camera with the remote control?
Well,
Is that a
you mean
possibility?
talking into, you mean
No,
with,
talking into this camera. The way this is how I videotape my show.
oh, okay, do it for me, show me what you're talking
Well, the monitor would be, all right. Well, I would just be doing this. And I would be saying, hi, folks, how are you
okay.
today? We're bringing you up to date on what happened on
okay.
Cablevision.
Let's do that.
Okay, with the remote control.
Yeah, you keep the remote,
Okay,
yeah.
take this away.
Yeah. You can actually leave this, can you leave that one just sitting there?
Yeah, you can leave that one just sitting there, and then this is another remote.
Yeah.
And
It'd be like you really, yeah, I see what you're saying. That'd make a good overall time.
they make a good overall?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm just going to... Yeah, right. How'd you get such an interesting job, Joe? I mean, Kirk.
Well, I started out, I went to school at Washington State.
Washington State?
Yeah. Is that what you wanted?
Yes, a card for him to write his number on. What time is it?
7:15.
And then you're right on schedule, huh?
Yeah.
How long did it take you to get up here?
I didn't even pay any attention, it went by so quick.
It did, huh?
I left right at about 5 o'clock.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the phone.
And so you went to Washington State, and then what did you do?
Graduated from there in journalism.
You went to journalism?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
From Seattle, so I went back there and worked for a while there.
At a newspaper?
Yeah.
What one?
It was the Bellingham Herald, which is a city that's north of Seattle.
Yeah.
and then worked in AP, Seattle, Montana, Detroit, here.
Is that right? And how'd you get hooked up with Newsday, Long Island?
They called me and asked me if I was interested in the job.
Boy, good for you.
So,
Hey, good for you. You didn't even have to seek it, huh?
okay.
That's a photographer being photographed.
I hate my picture.
Okay.
Okay, anyway.
Listen, we want to thank you for
Yeah, it was a
coming,
pleasure.
and nice to meet you.
Nice
And
to
I
meet
look forward to the article. You think it will be Sunday?
It could be. Well,
Yeah, you know, yeah, you can't tell.
if it isn't in there tomorrow, I would be willing to bet it'll be the early part of the week.
Yeah, right.
You know, so anyway,
Okay, Kirk.
thanks a lot. All right, good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure to meet you. All right.
PM, the date is October the 2nd, 1994, and it's Sunday.
I don't know how to dribble. Believe me, I don't know how to dribble. You don't know how to dribble, Alejandra? I don't. I tried it. Damn power ball, that's why. So you want to go on our rollerblades? Guys, come here. No, just stop. Go right into the street. Great. Then I can make it go from you. Stop.
Now, they'll be on television at 5:30 p.m. Monday on Channel 14.
Watch this. I bet I can go.
You hear me? They'll be on television 5:30 p.m. Monday on Channel 14.
No, yeah, there's no camera. Okay. Yeah, let's go. Let's go. Great.
Okay. Time is 3:37 p.m. Sunday afternoon, October the 2nd, 1994.
Yes! Yeah! 2 outs!
No.
We go!
You get out of
So how's that for breaking the White Plains noise ordinance? 3:51 p.m. on October the 2nd, 1994, Sunday.
You get out of here, kill you.
The release!
Okay.
Bye! She's
Now, these girls live in 3C, and this boy doesn't live here at all.
Melissa!
She was like this.
Melissa, come on, tell the truth. You know you were out.
She was on it. She was how many of us agree with my she was like this.
3:52 p.m. John Porzio's answering service. It's John Porzio's answering service.
Hello, hello. Could you?
It's the third time we've tried to reach John Porzio's answering service. Boy.
This is Franklin Buell in 21 Green Ridge, White Plains, apartment 2A. And I know that he doesn't like his lawns to be playgrounds, and the grassy area here in the court at this complex, it's regularly used now by children playing, including some who don't live here. And we just thought he'd like to know.
Okay, I'll give him this message.
Thank you very much. Bye.
That was fun. Here, throw it in the pitcher. I was like,
Okay, do it.
you had to do it. Do it.
Whoa, look. Sadie.
Get out. Isn't he out?
One man.
He's out. He's out. Yeah, that's out.
Come on.
It's much farther back. Oh, I forgot that's yours.
Time is 4:06 p.m. and it's October the 2nd, 1994, Sunday.
Scorpion's big telling on it. Look, it's back.
One girl just said, the next time you videotape, I'm going to call the police. Where have we heard that before? Is 4:15 p.m. Would you catch it, Katie, Ginny? And the date is October the 2nd, 1994, Sunday. And this will be on channel 14, Monday at 5:30 p.m. The one in the middle is Elizabeth's daughter, and she lives in apartment in a building D. And they come over here and they hang out here. They don't live on this side of the building, and they look in our windows. And these other ones live in apartment 3C at 21 Greenwich Avenue. Now, will you call John Porzio again, please? Okay, call John Porzio. Okay. And where do you live? Side of the building, and they look in our windows. And these other ones live in apartment 3C at 21 Greenridge Avenue. Now, will you call John Porzio again, please? Okay, call John Porzio. Okay. And where do you live? You don't live near this apartment. You don't live near here. What did you say? And what time is it? And who are you? Do you live here?
Me?
Yes, you. Do you live here?
Right there.
No, I don't live here.
No, you don't live here.
No.
And whose guest are you? Whose guest are you?
Cousin.
Who?
My cousin.
Your cousin. That's a likely story.
It is my cousin.
Oh, yeah, that's a likely story. Okay, what time is it, Franklin? What time is it? What time is it, Franklin? That girl belongs in 3C, and she's way over here at 1A and 2A. Channel 14, Monday, 5:30 p.m. TCI, Tuesday, 9 p.m., Channel 8. Now let's call the police. Oh, okay. Okay, just a second, please. You got some kids who are annoying you, looking in your window. If you want an officer, come up here.
There are some kids here hanging around our window, looking in the window, and we 21 Greenridge, 21 Greenridge,
They're harassing us.
apartment 2A. Yeah. And they persist in hanging around our windows, and they live in another part of the complex.
Harassing? Yes.
They are now, yes. It's on the
South
it's
side.
on the Livingston Street side. It's toward Livingston Street. My name is Buell, Franklin Buell, B-U-E-L-L. 949-9495. Thank you.
Time of that call is 4:28 p.m. Sunday, October 2nd, 94. Officer Coyle stood there and talked to these people for a long time. And now this is Roberta Walsh talking to Officer Coyle. The same old Walsh thing, you know. And here comes somebody else. That would be the daughter. Who is the woman? Do you know who the woman is, Franklin? Okay, Officer Coyle is leaving now, and this is Roberta Walsh. And this woman was in the car. What time is it, please? The car is now leaving. Roberta is standing alone. Officer Coyle is leaving. What time?
4:47.
It's 4:47 p.m. Sunday, October the 2nd, 1994. And the other children went to Rutherford, the 3C children. Is that so?
Yeah.
Now her children being whom? 2 boys? The 2 boys?
Yes.
You said Patty told her children to play over on the other side.
The children were all there, and she was motioning over there. And she couldn't tell the others where to play, but she could tell her.
Okay, Andy.
This is Daniel Walsh shouting from the ground on the wall up to Candy. Obviously they're drinking, and that's James Walsh, who is making all the whistling noise. And you can see he's drinking the beer. And of course he's under the influence. And this is a fine upbringing for James Walsh. He's trying to get Candy going now. And what's the time? What time is it? 7:42 p.m., October the 2nd, 1994, Sunday night. So we just keep the camera going. Okay, there's an insult of FATASS. Nice upbringing for a son. Good language to use in front of a son. It's all a matter of record. And now he's laughing. This man never grew up. He never matured. Look at him. Look at him. The mentality of a 6-year-old. Look at him. Now he's waving because he's drunk. That's the same as talking to him. That's the same. He's drunk. He's under the influence of a substance. Substance abuse, and he just said FATASS. So just keep the camera going. See, that was, he came down deliberately to do that.
Oh, yes. No question.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
That's harassment. That's Daniel Walsh trying to get up Candy to join forces with him so she can break some laws too. Okay, can you do that? I'm breaking the law right now? I'm breaking the law right now. The police are on their way. And that's Candy Alpucci also taunting. Okay. Okay, you gonna call Franklin?
Hi, you got a car coming up to 21 Green Ridge?
It's been referred, sir.
Oh, it's been referred. You're not gonna do anything about it, huh?
It's referred to the proper authority.
Yeah, referred to the proper authority means Officer Fisher's gonna call in 4 days about this, huh?
It's not going to be 4 days. It was referred to the proper unit, ma'am.
Yeah, you mean you're not sending anybody, you're gonna let this go on, right?
That is correct.
That's a whole lot of protection you give a person.
An officer's been there once today to speak to you.
That's a different party altogether. What's that got to do with it? That's not the issue. The issue is we're being harassed and you're not doing anything about it. It's happening right here under your eyes and you're not doing anything.
What I was instructed to do.
Oh, great. Well, you can make a nice record on TV, let me tell you. And it's going to be on there and this conversation included.
It's pretty blatant when your neighbors come out and sit right outside your window and yell obscenities at you for no reason. You're just in your home, minding your own business, and this is...
Report has been referred to the proper unit, ma'am.
Yeah, are you coming?
but,
Are you coming
You want
up?
to speak to an officer right now?
Yes. Are you coming up here the way you should and stop this?
Would you like to speak to an officer right now?
Yes, I
Are
will
you
be.
coming up here and stop this the way you should? Are you going to do your duty?
I can't hear you, ma'am.
Are you coming up here and stop this the way you should? And that's what I requested. Are you going to do your duty?
What exactly is this person doing?
I told you that already. He's outside of my whistle. He just called me an FATASS. I'm trying to be in my home and do my work and live in peace. And he's out there whistling and cackling and hollering and taunting you, of course, saying that you're never going to come. Yeah, that's what he's doing. You think that's right, that I should be insulted from my window?
No, 1 second, please. I have an emergency call. Hold on.
Contact the reporter who left the business cards in each of the wallets. You might be surprised it was that many. They're supposed to...
7 p.m. That's James Walsh and a visitor. And he's playing football on the lawn. James Walsh and a visitor. And this has been going on for 10 minutes. About 5:10 p.m.
John Porcio's office, can I help you?
Hi, would you give a message to John Porzio, please?
Sure, who's calling?
Glendora.
Excuse me?
Glendora.
Okay, your number, please?
949-9495. And the message is that James Walsh and a visitor are playing football on the lawn between Building A and Building C.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Here he is. That's James Walsh. James Walsh. The time is 5:10 p.m. The date is October the 3rd, 1994, Monday. James Walsh. And visitor. And this has been going on for 15 minutes. What a lawbreaker. This is James Walsh over here. Get him from the other. It was 5:20 p.m. The chat with Glendora is coming on, and it's all about this kind of Walsh law breaking for a half an hour. This noise has been going on for half an hour. It's about 6:30 now. The landlord says don't play on the lawn. These three girls live in 3C. The boy lives in 2B. The date is is October 3rd, 1993, Monday. That girl is in 4D. That one right there. One, two, three, four.
Who doesn't know? Oh, here they are again, looking in our window. Okay, get off the camera. Get the camera, please. Okay. Now these children, their names are Maggie and Aaron and Megan. They live in 3C. And this is going to be on Channel 16 on Monday at 5:30 p.m. Now these children do not live anywhere near this apartment. They don't live anywhere near here, and yet they hang out here and they look in our windows. Okay, the time is 4:15 p.m. Would you catch it, Katie? And the date is October the 2nd, 1994, Sunday. And this will be on Channel 14, Monday at 5:30 p.m. The one in the middle is Elizabeth Starr. And she lives in an apartment in the building B. Careful. And they come over here and they hang out here. They don't live on this side of the building, and they look in our windows. And these other ones live in apartment 3C at 21 Greenwich Avenue. Now, will you call John Porzio again, please? Okay, call John Porzio. Okay. So this is a form of harassment. Over here and stand on the tree trunk and they look in our windows. Okay, I got it stopped. Are they going inside? No. Carrying a child. Yeah, that would be 3C. Now, there's no need of their being over here. That's just harassment. You understand? Yes. Okay, both the cats are in? Yeah. Pardon me? G-D? That's good. P's and K's. All right, well, okay. Now, is that over? Can we, oh, you just heard that. That was harassment by the girls in 3C. Time is 4:20 p.m. It was Newsday about a photo, and it was these annoying girls from 3C and from 4D, and then a new kid in 2B, and then a stranger. And Franklin and I are trying to do the telephoning for Sunday. We're almost made it. We're almost got the work up to date here, but it looks like it's going to fail again. Okay, 4:21 p.m. Glendora following John Porzio. These children shouldn't be. Hey, come on in. Come on in. I want to show you a videotape. Hi, how are you? Thanks for coming. This is breaking the White Plains noise ordinance. Shouting, hollering, hooting at any time of day or night so as to disturb the welfare, peace, and quiet and comfort of any person in any dwelling or residence. And this is what it is.
14 is valid, negative violating Toyota door blue, 11 Terrace Avenue, second floor, Farmington City.
He doesn't live here.
Delasco. Date of birth 2/15/65. Vehicle expired November 95.
This goes on for hours. 3:51 p.m. That's today. October the 7th, 1994, Sunday. Now that's one charge. The other charge is that they come over here and they stand by this window and they look in our window. And it's just plain harassment. They don't even belong here. They belong over there. And I'll show you that. What's your name?
Officer Coyle.
Hi, Officer Coyle.
All right.
All right.
I've been here before.
Have you?
Yes, sir. 18 Union Time 1555.
I'm going to show you this harassment. Where they just hang around our window right here.
37262.
Now, three of them live in 3C. This one right there lives in 4D. 4D or lives in 3D. Let's see. 4D right here. Those two live in 3C. Those two live in 3C. This one lives in 3D. Okay. Now let's see. Just hang around our window. And these other ones live in apartment 3C at 21 Greenwich Avenue. Now we call it up again. So you just hang around, right there. He's sitting right out there. They don't belong here. They belong over there. This one I think lives in 2B. Okay. Anything you want to see over again?
No, there's nothing. Okay, I'm going to make a report of it. I'm going to
I would like.
forward it to
Yeah.
Community Policing, Officer Fisher.
Yeah, but these are new people. These aren't the old offenders. These are new offenders. I know what you're saying, and I'll talk to Fisher tomorrow. But I would like to have you go over to 3D and talk to the mother, and over to 3C and talk to the mother. That's that building right there, second floor on the left. And this building, go in there and talk to this mother on the second floor that's over here. Because I say it is a violation of White Plains noise ordinance. And these are new people. These aren't against the people that Officer Fisher is dealing with.
Okay.
Now, you call John. Will you do that? Go and talk to the mothers?
I'm not going to talk to the parents. I'm going to talk to anyone that's out there right now.
Good.
I'm going to forward the report that you have a videotape. This will all go to P.O. Fisher, and he can come take a look at the tape.
Well, I maintain it's wrong for P.O. Fisher because it's not his people.
You don't live near here.
No, it isn't. P.O. Fisher is doing Walsh, Alpucci, and Larkin.
Okay.
And this is not.
Policing, and he takes care of this kind of problem.
All right, but you're going to go out there and see those that are there now. Thank you, Officer Coyle. All right. Appreciate your coming.
No, you don't live here. And whose guest are you? Whose guest are you? Who?
My cousin.
Your cousin, that's a likely story.
He's my cousin.
Franklin.
Now let's call the police. There's nobody up.
No. When you went out to watch before the police came.
Oh, okay. Oh, well. Okay.
They went down the street and then they, all of a sudden,
Where'd the man go?
the man went, they all went hanging onto the man down the street. And I saw them through the break there. They went halfway down the block. And then all of a sudden,
They came back.
children ran back.
You think that he is their father? What's Officer Coyle doing? That's 10 minutes of footage. Look at this beautiful day.
He's talking to them from their own here.
There. Hi, Patty. And Roberta Walsh is out there. Franklin. And Daniel Walsh is out there. And he's got one parent. Patty just waved and smiled to me. Patty, the one I gave the bread to last night. She just waved and smiled to me. She's talking to the officer. He's got one parent out there. Would- The two boys are leaving. Isn't that nice that Officer Coyle was talking to him for a long time? And now this is Roberta Walsh talking to Officer Coyle. The same old Walsh thing, you know? And here comes somebody else. That would be the daughter. Who is the woman? Do you know who the woman is, Frank? Okay, Officer Coyle is leaving now, and this is Roberta Walsh. And this woman was in the car. What time is it, please? The car's now leaving. Roberta is standing alone. Officer Coyle is leaving. What time? It's 4:47 p.m. Sunday, October the 2nd, 1994. What's going on now?
She's telling him her children have to play over on the other side.
Patty just told her children to play over on the other side. And the other children went to Rutherford. The 3C children. Is that so?
Yeah.
Now her children being who? Two boys? The two boys?
Yes.
You said Patty told her children to play over on the other side.
Children were all there, and she was motioning over there.